Good day. Thanks for joining me on today. Make sure my mic is on. Welcome to the Kingdom Wealth Warriors podcast, where we equip kingdom minded believers with spiritual truths to walk in divine authority, wisdom, and wealth. My name is Deb Howard. I am your abundant life coach. Thanks for joining. And listen, thanks for joining me today on episode 3 of the series that we've been doing. We've been doing a series called Free Isn't Free. Now, if you've been rocking with me for episodes 1 and 2, you already know we're not playing with this topic. We've talked about so far how free is often misunderstood, and even a compliment carries a cost. But today, we're going to go just a little bit deeper, just a little. We're talking about how the word free can feed something that can be very dangerous, especially for the believer. It can feed what we call the entitlement mindset. Yes. And we've got to be careful about that. Okay. Let's get into it because this might step on some toes. But listen, it's all love. It's all in love. So let me ask you a real question. Have you ever expected something for free? Just because of where it came from, just because it came from church, maybe a coach, maybe a community, your community, maybe a community leader. Have you ever just expected something, just expected that it would be free? Maybe it was they should just give that away because it's ministry, right? This is the work of the Lord. The gospel is free. I know we like to say that. Or why should they charge for that? Isn't that what they're called to do? Isn't that their gifting? Why are they charging for that? Come on now. If you've thought it, or if you've heard someone else say it, you've brushed up against the entitlement mindset. Yes. So what is entitlement? Entitlement is that subtle belief that says, I deserve this without having to give anything in return. I deserve it. They should just give it to me. It's not based on honor. And you know, we've been talking about honor and the importance of honor for believers, giving honor and receiving honor, right? It's not rooted in gratitude. And if you've heard me in the past, I've talked about how gratitude can be a strategy for wealth. So it's not rooted in gratitude. It's rooted in expectation without investment. Listen, every time I think about that, I kind of get a chill. Expectation without investment. There are not many things that we can receive of value without investment. And it's not always an investment of money. It might be an investment of time, etc. Right? All investments that we make. But expectation without an investment is rooted in an entitlement mindset. And it's really something that we have to seriously look at. We like to say, and I've heard people say, that there are certain generations walking among us now that have an entitlement mindset. But I submit to you that it's more than 1 or 2 generations. I think many of us, maybe unknowingly, deal with an entitlement mindset. And sometimes we get irritated and upset because people don't bow to that entitlement mindset that's within us, that expects to get something for free. Listen, it shows up a lot in faith spaces. And you might wonder why. I was wondering why. It's because we confuse ministry with free labor. I work in HR, and so that's something that gets talked about, almost a running joke, right? Especially if you're a salaried individual, that many times a company uses free labor, right? Works you or causes you to do extra work without an investment. And in some of our faith spaces, right, in our ministries and assemblies, we have that same thing. We want people to work for free. We want them to serve and give and pour for nothing. And we expect it. And that's really where I want us to dig into. Why do we expect that? Why do we have a mindset that says people should give me, that there shouldn't be reciprocity in whatever situation it is, whether it's ministry, whether it's going to a restaurant and not wanting to tip? I know we won't get into it. I know the tipping and maybe become a little too common in some places, but when we go to a restaurant, right, that's still the tradition, right? That's still something that we want to do. We want to bless those that have served well. So we have to really look into that. We may even confuse service with servitude. Listen, let's get some Bible on that. 2 Samuel 24 and 24 is really one of my favorite verses on this topic. David said, I will not offer to the Lord, my God, burnt offerings that cost me nothing. Listen, David said, if it ain't cost me something, I ain't finna offer it to him. Wow. David understood something we often forget. Worship, honor, and sacrifice go hand in hand. If it didn't cost you anything, it might not be worship. It might not even be sincere. And so when we talk about digging into that entitlement mindset, again, we have to analyze within ourselves. Why am I trying to offer something, right, without an investment? Why am I trying to go to the house of the Lord, right, to your church? You know their responsibilities at your church. You know that, right? You know that building didn't just fall out the sky, right? It was purchased, it was built. You know all the things because you too have a home, a house, apartment, whatever you have, and you know the responsibilities that come with that. So why would you expect to go to a place and worship and never honor that place, right? And never contribute, invest in that place? Listen, when you attend a free webinar, workshop, or even worship night at your church, it's not free. I already told you in the previous episode, I actually don't like the word free. It's a low frequency word. Complimentary is more of a definition of what you're receiving. Listen, it's not free because if it's a webinar, somebody paid for that Zoom subscription. Somebody invested time in preparing materials, maybe even stayed up all night. They might even skip work. For that worship night, you already know. Somebody planned it. Somebody had to gather the people together. There was practice, right? The choir, the worship team had to practice. There was an investment in the beginning so that you could reap what you received. So when you demand access without contribution, you devalue the giver. Entitlement dishonors the investment that praise team made. When we don't honor it in some way by investing in what it is that we are enjoying, the thing that we're reaping from. Listen, I know you may say, I can't always give. Well, maybe you can't. But you can always give honor in some way. And I really want us as believers to excel in giving honor. A wealth mindset requires us to really level up our thinking. And we can't expect from others what we're not willing to give. So I know many of you may be entrepreneurs or looking to become an entrepreneur or have a side hustle or self-employed, have a business, all these things, right? Or maybe you're in ministry. Either way, you want people to give honor for the investments that you give, right? The investments you make. And vice versa. We also have to be willing to give that honor. Whew, Lord, I know. All right, so a quote that I love that I think also helps summarize what we're talking about. If you're not willing to pay the price, you're not ready for the value. If you're not willing to invest, you're probably not willing or ready for the value from that investment. You can't expect kingdom outcomes with a consumer mindset. And I know it's hard because here in America, it's all about consumerism. But you understand that what we're talking about this week, what we've talked about and what we'll continue to talk about, at least for the next couple of episodes, is really shifting that mindset and really evaluating where we are in our thinking, in our kingdom citizenship, all of that. So you can't expect kingdom outcomes with that consumer mindset because Jesus even said in Luke 9:23, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross daily and follow me. Following Jesus wasn't free. Being a disciple came with a cross, pun intended. It came with a cross and a cost. It wasn't free. And so I want us to really, this week, this weekend, as you continue living, right, as we are making choices about where we're going to give, how we're going to invest, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about, do I have an expectation, right, without investment? Do I expect to always receive? In all these situations, even when you see complimentary offers, right, or free offers, right, is that something that will bring me value? And if it is, let me honor that investment. And again, it may not always be money. You know, here on social media, let me tell you, your likes, your comments, your shares are very valuable to many people, to many businesses and influencers. A share, sometimes just an encouraging word. But when an investment is on your heart, when the Spirit is nudging you, when you know that I can honor this ministry, this person, whoever, then break free from that entitlement mindset that says, I'm just going to get this for free. And think about, you know what? I want to bring honor. I want to elevate my thinking. I want to walk as one who is royal. We love to call each other kings and queens. Kings and queens not only receive honor, they're able to give honor. They honor other kings and queens, right? So the mindset shift, I want you to ask yourself, am I showing up as a receiver or a taker? Am I partnering with purpose or just pulling on purpose? Come on now. Do I support what feeds me or do I just consume it? God is calling us to level up in our giving and our receiving. Yeah, we need to grow up a little bit. We need to recognize that honor looks like showing up with something in your hand. Whether that's money, time, prayer, or even gratitude. Did you hear that? Honor. We've been talking about honor. Honor looks like showing up with something in your hand. Here's our challenge this week. I want you to reflect on the area where you've expected something for free. Ask, was I truly honoring the person or just expecting access? Ooh, I have to keep myself in because wow, we could talk about that. Am I really honoring? Are you really honoring your ministry leader or just expecting access? Are you honoring even your coach, your mentor, or just expecting access? And we have to think about where that comes from, what that's rooted in. I'm sure you've heard people say, they want access to someone. But have you made the investment? All right. And then I want you to take some action this week, and I want you to sow back into someone that has blessed you. All right. This might be a thank you, a thank you note, a cash app, a testimony, a prayer, a DM, a share. Listen, I want you to take some action on what you've heard. Sow back into someone that has blessed you. So I have affirmation for you. You can say this after me. I do not operate in entitlement. I choose honor over expectation. I value the price that others pay. And I show up as a partner, not just a consumer. Ooh. Yeah, you probably need to repeat that a few times this week. Listen, thanks for joining me on today. Listen, I know this was a heart check for some of us. It was definitely a heart check for me too. Next time, if you join me next episode, we're getting into the behind the scenes reality of what free really costs. The next episode is called Somebody Always Pays. Even if the cost didn't hit your bank account, it hit someone's life. I can tell you that. So if this bless you, come on now, share, like, comment, and comment. Do what you do. Let's break the spirit of entitlement and start walking in wisdom, honor, and maturity. Now, if you have not done so, depending on what platform you're looking at this on, you may not know that I have a podcast channel, the Kingdom Wealth Warriors channel on YouTube. You can join there. Please subscribe. I'd love to have you as a subscriber because I'm always generating content for that channel. You can also join the Kingdom Wealth Warriors community on Facebook if you're not already a member. Listen, until next time, you already know what I'm going to say. Go have your most abundant day. I will see you soon.